Good morning, everyone out there. Welcome to another episode of Outside Shots. I'm Saul Bookman. This is EJ. You know how it is every single morning on Thursday morning, bright and early, 8:30 to start your day. Us two lovely people. Eddie, I just wanted to start the day off because I feel like, listen, there's a lot of drama out there in Suns world. There's a lot of stress out there, a lot of people that are just concerned about their team. And I thought, you know what, let's start off this show with something a little light, a little funny, a little humor in the world. So I found this video that I wanted to share.
Dad, did you hear about our basketball game?
No, what happened?
We lost again.
I'm sorry.
We lost to a Christian homeschool.
Okay, well,
all because they cheated.
They cheated?
Yes, they cheated.
How did they cheat?
They had Jesus on their team.
Okay, so
I can guard Joey all day, but you know who I can't guard?
Okay, I think
the Lord.
Okay, at this point,
Every time a player got hurt, he was fine the next play.
Well, that's a good thing.
I think Jesus was healing them.
Do you
I
understand
think
how
he was hiding under the bleachers, just laying his hands on them so they would be fine.
You really need to
Their cheerleaders over there like, we got school spirit. I'm like, yeah, you also have the Holy Spirit.
They had cheer.
Over there praying, the Lord is my shepherd. Yeah, he's also your shooting guard. So
You
I
seem
don't
really-
know what they were praying for.
Listen to
I'm
me.
assuming points because they scored 84 of them.
You're making excuses.
And then Joey was all like, we beat you. I'm like, you ain't beat us.
Well, you know, kids.
He
that-
beat us.
Actually, they
You know,
did.
Jesus may love all the little children of the world,
Derek, listen
but he
to
also loves the hoop.
You guys lost
And he's
because
good.
you're ridiculous.
Real good.
Listen to
God
me.
might have created the heavens and the earth on day one, but on day two, he shot some foul shots. I promise you that.
You
That
can't
man-
be a sore
Chad said he heard the coach say after the game, I want to thank God. So that right there tells you that they were planning something sneaky with him.
That's good.
Listen, man, I thought that was pretty hilarious. So I wanted to play that just because, hey, listen, man, we need a little humor in our life and a little levity.
Yeah, since you can't give me any OGs, you got to be able to show video.
Yeah, I mean, damn. I mean, he didn't ask, so here I am. Anyway,
I bet we can get you some OGs.
and we got some OGs. I got them taken care of. Listen, we have a bunch of drama behind the scenes, obviously, and we'll go ahead and start with the most obvious thing that is yet to be decided or has been decided. I don't know. I think everybody's kind of open or in the dark about the future of Frank Vogel, the future of other players on this roster, and maybe even front office and JJ and all this other stuff. And in terms of Frank Vogel, let's start there. The perception was for a little bit that maybe he was going to be let go, and now there's this perception that maybe he's going to be staying, and I think it's all over the place. It feels a little – listen, man, the season was a little disjointed. It feels like this offseason has kind of started off a little disjointed as well in terms of does the organization know what they want to do yet? And if they don't, why is it taking so long?
That last part, why is it taking so long? See, but then if it's done quickly, then you have people say, man, why didn't they give him a chance? Why so quickly, right? I think Mat Ishbia is doing the correct thing. I think he's not going with emotion. I think he's taking his time. But also I think he's taking his time in real time, meaning we have to understand and remember, he just purchased the team. One, he's got to get to know everybody a little bit past everything else, not only in the front office, but all his employees. If you went back, and I had an opportunity to go back to his company back in Michigan, and I saw the unity that they have in that place, 7,000 employees. It takes time. And it seems like all of them knew him. It seems like he probably met and talked to all of them. That takes time. And I think what he's doing is he's taking his time. We're in the offseason. The draft isn't upon us. Summer League isn't upon us. I mean, this is the time to really sit down, talk to people, get people's thoughts on things, and then make a decision. I think that's the fair way to do it. For Frank Vogel's been around the league for a long time. He deserves that. He deserves patience before a decision. And I think that's the way he's going about his business right now. I applaud him for it because some owners will emotionally make a decision right away.
Mm-hmm.
He's not doing it. And I think the fans should appreciate that. Like, because they're going to have their favorite player over the year, and say that player does something dumb, gets in trouble, or whatever it is. And you have some part of fans say, oh, we need to get rid of him, or say he played poorly. Oh, we need to get rid of him. He's no good. Sort of like years ago when Mark Cuban listened to his fan base and got rid of Steve Nash.
Oh, yeah.
How did that turn out for Mark Cuban?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he still won a championship. But
Well, how did that turn out for Mark Cuban,
took
though?
took a little.
Probably could have won multiple.
Yeah.
If he'd have been patient with Steve Nash. So I think patience is fine, especially in the offseason. If it's during the season and the team is snowballing and going backwards and all that, I can understand the quickness in making decisions, and we see it all the time. But, yeah, I would rather go that route than go the route the Lakers went in quickly firing Darvin Ham. You know, so that's especially a guy that made the Western Conference Finals a year ago.
I want to say I agree with you, but there's a part of me that feels like, okay, well, listen, Frank Vogel got hired around this time last year, or maybe a couple weeks later, and you've been around. You've been around the facility. You've been around the team. You've seen this team on the road and at home. You've seen how they operate behind closed doors. You've seen how they operate in the locker room. I'm talking about in terms of Mat Ishbia. And
hold on for a second. Classy nasty. We understand they won a ring. They didn't win rings, Stoopy. Okay? We know that. All right? But what if they had kept the two-time MVP, Steve Nash? They might have won multiple. That's what I meant. All right? I know. You don't have to teach me the history of the game. Sorry about that. Go
ahead. Anyway, so, I mean, they've had – I don't understand what the evaluation process is if you're going through everything and you see what has happened. And then afterwards, okay, sure, you want to talk to some people. But, like, it's almost been 2 weeks and there is still no resolution. And how do you not have resolution on this yet? Like, how do you – Did you feel good about what was happening behind closed doors? Did you feel good about what you were seeing on the court? Did anything lead you in the direction of feeling like Frank Vogel was going to be the answer long term? Or is this basically like, I don't really care what happened during the regular season or the playoffs. I want to hear what everybody has to say about this to get their impression before I make my decision. Okay, that's fine, but why is it taking so long? I assume he's had most of these conversations by now. So I say either come out and say, Frank Vogel is going to remain our coach because he's the best option we have moving forward, or get rid of him.
You got to talk to a lot of people, right? So
but how many people do you got to talk to?
Well, you talk to players.
Sure.
Okay, you're going to talk to front office. And obviously, you're evaluating the front office as you're talking to them. You talk to people. You could be talking to people around the league.
But why?
And what they think. Because
why do you need to talk to people around the league?
Here's why. When you're learning a business, you do your research. Mat Ishbia, this is his first time that he's owned a professional team. He's been trying to buy a team for a long time. And obviously he knows how to run a business. And maybe he's running it like he would run his business in Detroit, which is the number one mortgage company in the country. So it's hard for me to dissect and like try to break down somebody that's had success, that's become a multi-billionaire in his 40s. I just can't. I have to go with the process of how they feel like they're going to do it, which sometimes isn't along the same lines as we're used to in regards to sports, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I think the football mentality is for us to have a Black Monday. After the season, he's done. Mm-hmm. But the playoffs end so spontaneously that did anybody think that we were going to get swept? So all of a sudden it's like he could be evaluating it in the back of his mind, and then all of a sudden, boom, we're done. So he's supposed the next day make that decision when he really wasn't even thinking about that because we were favored going into that series. There you go. So I'm sure he's been evaluating them along the line during the course of the season. So I'm not saying I'll immediately just start evaluating him, but I don't see anything wrong with it. I like the lottery hadn't even happened yet. We're not even in that. So
it's
you
irrelevant.
know, I mean, so why not? So why not take your time? That's all I'm saying. Why not take your time on decisions? And then when you do that, you're gonna make the right decisions and the right replacements, man. Because sometimes you get too quick with stuff and you double down, and it just doesn't. It gets worse than what it was.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess maybe I'm.
You just want it now. That's how
I'm
you
not
are.
saying. Listen, I think week and a half is long
a
enough
week
time
and a half
to decide on whether or not you want to make a move at that position or not. Yeah, 1,000,000%.
He's probably decided what he wants to do.
He just hasn't said it.
He just hasn't said it.
Well, that makes
That's
it even
my
worse,
point
man.
to you.
Come on, man. Why are you leaving this guy dangling out there? Flopping in the wind for no reason.
Maybe he knows. I mean,
Vogel?
like, you're not, yeah. I mean, no, look, when you're in that situation, you know, like with this podcast. I mean, like, I would know if you were like, I don't want to work with Eddie anymore. I could tell. I'd be able to tell way before you even say, hey, I don't want to work with you anymore.
It wouldn't take me a week and a half to make up my mind about it.
You could be like leaving early, like not looking at me when we talk. I would know. I would like, something's wrong. Like, okay, being snappy with me, right?
Sure,
and vice versa. So,
okay.
I mean, I think Vogel has an idea, but he's also given him an opportunity to sell himself. Like, that's how it should go to me, man. I just think this, you know, if I was in a position of power like that, I wouldn't be spontaneous like that, man, because I was always a person that was so proactive, man. Like, I always close my eyes, like even before games when I would play. I would sit in the locker and I would close my eyes and I would say, man, how are you going to feel if you lose this freaking game? Like, and I'll put myself in that place. I'm not going to feel good. Like, or if I have a poor game.
Yeah.
And then after I'm done and I'm like, hell no, I don't want to deal with this. I focus. Like, I just don't think, like, you drink, okay? If I'm in a club and I'm drinking, I'm like, okay, if I go past 2 drinks, I need to call somebody or I need to take an Uber while I'm still halfway sober.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm thinking. Like, you know, and a lot of people don't do that, man. And I always tell people, you know, you have to do that because it's a lot of people that's not here today because they weren't proactive and they knew they weren't supposed to do something, and yet they did pay the price. And so that's how I look at it, man. So let the proactivity of life flourish within your body.
I did not know we were going to go from firing a head coach in the NBA to DUIs. Oh, all right. How'd you go so morbid like that, man?
I mean, Arizona is one of the
strictest ones.
Arizona is one of the #1 states in the country with that, especially down there in Scottsdale.
What did you read this morning? Good gosh.
What did I read?
I mean, did you read an article about DUIs or something?
No, I just
Why
used
was that at the top of your head?
I just use that as an example because
morbid.
so many young people make that mistake.
Sure.
And that's why. So when I'm talking, and you're a youngster, while I'm talking, I'd like to try to educate the youngsters as I talk to them. That's my give back. I told you, you've never seen a what behind a what?
You never see what say, sorry.
You've never seen a what behind a what? Don't you ever forget this again, or I'm going to get physical with you.
I don't know what you're saying.
Don't you ever, okay, forget. Have you ever seen a U-Haul behind a hearse?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Leave it all behind. I'm leaving it behind. I'm leaving the education of life behind. I want to educate you stuppies out there.
You were wild.
No, man. I mean,
You're
I got
wild.
ramped up because early on, dude calling me out on the Steve Nash stuff. Man,
You can't. Hey, listen, man.
I know, man. I know I can't. I
You can't
know.
let these guys bother you like that. Come on,
Well,
now.
we gonna talk about somebody coming up that bothered me, and I went off on him.
All right.
Educate him.
Well, before we get to that, maybe we need a little OGs to calm down. OGs, the best edible in the game. Go check them out at ogsbrands.com. Find yourself a little RSO, a little indica, a little sativa. He needs indica. Clearly needs indica. He needs to just mellow the hell out. They got the nice little micro gummies too, 3 milligrams. So if you're just getting into it, that's probably a good place to start. Take the edge off a little bit. And listen, sometimes it's been a day. And you just want to unwind, and it helps you unwind. It helps you just kind of relax. So check them out, ogsbrands.com, the best edibles in the game out there in the Valley. All right, so I kind of wanted to go through the whole organization today. So we started off with the head coach, but we probably should have started off. First and foremost, let me just say this. Let's talk about Mat Ishbia just for a hot minute. He's been getting a lot of flack about the fact that people say that he ruined this franchise, he ruined this team because he traded Mikal and Cam, younger players, for a guy like KD, and then he ruined the Suns by getting Bradley Beal and letting Chris Paul go, which are all terrible takes. But I fault Mat Ishbia absolutely none for going for it. And for trying to improve this team the fastest way he thought he could and trying to get this franchise a championship. I don't think that the intent deserves to be slandered as much as it has been in the last couple weeks.
Just be patient, people. Gee,
that
I mean, you get, but see, I understand why a lot of fans and whatnot, they're impatient because, and I'm not going to that thing where I played, you played. That's not what I'm saying. Well, a little bit, but not totally what I'm saying.
Okay.
You can say this about anything. I watch a lot of law shows, but I know damn well I can't go try a case. I can't. I'm Perry Mason Deluxe. It's a little bit too dated for you. But
well, I know Perry Mason.
Yeah.
These guys don't. I do.
Yeah. I mean, like I could go in there and act like I'm a lawyer, but as soon as they start bringing up past laws and different jargon, I'd be like, I need to get up out of here. That's how I feel about a lot of people that want to show this impatience right away. Yes, this season turned into a disappointment, without a doubt. The Suns were highly thought of as a team that can win a title. When that trade for Bradley Beal went down, okay, people were saying around the league it's unfair. They were complaining.
Yep.
They were saying, how does Beal be able to dictate where he wanted to go? And the Suns got him. And it was like, I have a radio show, Sirius XM NBA Radio. My co-host went nuts. Like, that's not fair. How many people does KD need? How many people does Devin need? That's everything everyone was saying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they automatically thought the Suns was going to be the best in the West. All right. Now, when it failed the first year, now everybody's at fault and you shouldn't have done it. You should have kept Mikal. You should have kept Cam. I love Mikal and Cam. Cam stayed hurt.
Yeah.
Did you all forget about that? Huh? Did you? And we were up 2-0 in the finals and we lost it. There was a great group of guys. Don't get me wrong. Great team, man, without a doubt. But didn't get it done. And then the following year, obviously lost to Dallas?
Mm-hmm.
Got embarrassed.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't understand this. Now you want to go backwards. No. You're going to go forwards. And we got 3 tremendously gifted players, and we got to figure out a way to put people around them to make it work. That's it. Let's see if they can do that and not just say, give them a 1-year chance at doing it. That's just unfair.
It's just, I agree with that part. Man, there's so many things to get into on that one. I just think that there's this perception that obviously not everything came together the way you wanted it to. And the orchestrator of this roster, let's get into him. That's why we said the King of Beepers. For those of you, that's a Phoenix throwback. That's a JJ, the King of Beepers reference from way back. So let's talk about JJ. Let's talk about James Jones and what he's done with this organization. I think listen, I think he's done some good. I think he's done some. He's had some misses. I think when you're looking at this roster construction, and you brought in this flood of free agents, vet minimums, and just about every single one of them didn't work out, and you had to basically revamp the entire roster midway through the season in order to really solidify yourself to have at least a good showing in the playoffs, and that was the goal. It didn't happen, but I just feel like there were some misses, and then misses even go back to, in my opinion, to be a well-rounded organization and a well-rounded GM, you have to take every aspect of team improvement to the core. You have to take it to heart, and you have to value every aspect of it. Even if you don't think that it'll work out in your favor, you still have to examine and do your homework on a lot of these measures. And so when you come out and basically say stuff like, I don't value, the draft, or they don't really place much of an emphasis on the draft, you're putting it out there that, like, anybody that you bring in from the draft, they're too young to help you right now. And I think if you took that, if you had a different perception about that a couple years ago, maybe you make different draft picks, they become superstars today. And we've seen that happen with a couple of other teams, that with players that we've passed on that we thought we were going to take because we had a position of need at certain points. And so that's where I keep going back to with JJ, is like, is he the answer? Is he the future? Is he the one that's trusted in that building to be able to rectify this roster and get them to where they need to be? I don't know. I really don't know.
Everything is going to fall back on, immediately it's going to fall back on the coach. And then ultimately it falls back on the GM.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way it works. Like, you're hired to be fired in this business. Rarely do you get guys that last a long time. Very few organizations have the same people in place. Miami, Pat Riley's been there forever. Eric Spoelstra's been the coach ever since Pat Riley left. That's unique. Greg Popovich been in San Antonio forever. And, they're not going to change. They're not going to fire Greg Popovich. He's going to fire himself. The Utah Jazz, they probably had about, 5 head coaches in their existence, up in Utah. It's a few organizations that Sam Presti has gotten criticized in Oklahoma City for years. Eventually, obviously, he's gotten it right. He had failure. He had James Harden. He had 3 MVPs. He had James Harden. He had Kevin Durant. He had Russell Westbrook. And he couldn't hold on to him. So, but they had patience with him. So you're hired to be fired in this business. Frank Vogel knows it. He won a title in L.A., got fired. James Jones knows it. He was a role player that had to fight for his job every moment he was in the league. So that mentality is not going to change once you get to the front office. And so now, the pressure is on him. He's got to find a way to make this thing work. And it's not going to be easy. But the one area that I know that those organizations that I just talked about, how they stayed in front, was player development.
Yes.
That to me is first and foremost. And I'm going to protect these role players that played on this team this year, because I was a starter my first 5 or 6 years, but I made my name at a high level as a 6th man and a role player. And the reason those role players struggle is because our 3 guys, to me, were doing things that they're not really professional at doing.
Mm-hmm.
Playing point guard, at a high level, all the time. Yeah, bringing it up and facilitating every now and then, of course. KD, Book, Bill can do that. But they had a responsibility to do everything, setting guys up, making sure they get touches. That's hard.
Yeah.
And then be a scorer. Look at Jalen Brunson right now. He's not really a prototypical point guard.
No.
He's a point guard that decided when Julius Randle went down, I'm just going to score. And so it's a lot of guys out there, they're just playing ball. They're just moving the ball and they're cutting and they're doing all of that. And I just think those guys, the 3 stars, had to take the responsibility of lifting up these role guys. And those role guys were inconsistent because of it. Because, let's quite honestly, they didn't have a pure mind-thinking guard that knew how to get it to them where they could really actually do damage. And I think that's how the snowball started rolling down the hill for us. And I think that mindset has to change. In my opinion, that mindset has to change. And we have to get back to this idea that non-position basketball is good. It wasn't good for us this past year. This positionless basketball, I hate it. Guard, forward, or center, okay? Not just play. It drives me nuts.
I know it does. Would you agree with this assessment? I feel like because Mat Ishbia is the new owner, and he's got a new crew in place outside of JJ, obviously, but like it feels like you mentioned a little while ago, like he's learning
Right.
how to be an owner in the NBA. And subsequently with learning, there are going to be missteps along the way because that's how you learn. I get that. But do you feel like as an organization right now, the Suns are a little bit out of whack in terms of like their continuity from top to bottom? I'm talking about from the executive level all the way to the players on the court. Obviously, it didn't look like the connectivity was there. Feels like the messaging has been a little bit all over the place, and more importantly, I don't really feel like the Suns have like an identity that they're trying to go for. I don't think that they've figured out what they want to be in terms of this group, this organization, and this franchise. I know they want to win championships. So does every other organization. But like, what is the DNA of the culture of this building? Like, what type of player are they going after? What is a Mat Ishbia owned franchise or a JJ led or Vogel led organization and team look like? What is it supposed to look like? I don't know if I really have an answer for that. And that's where I feel like where the fragmentation comes from is nobody really knows what they're supposed to be or what they're supposed to do. So it's a little bit all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, like, again, I think it looked like that this year because of the dynamic of, okay, we made the deal for Bill and we moved Chris Paul, and now we don't have that quote unquote point guard to facilitate for these guys, but yet giving the responsibility to these guys and to be able to bring it up and do it. And I think what we saw teams say, okay, you're going to bring it up, Devin, we're going to pick you up three-quarter court. We're going to make it tough on you. And I think it took us out of our rhythm. It made us early in the year go one-on-one a lot. Injuries obviously hurt. We can't ignore the fact that those three guys missed over 50 games between them, and we still won 49. Like, people don't look at that. So you just think about it. If those guys were able to play, miss only 20 games, we probably would have flirted with 60 freaking wins. See, people, they don't get that part. Like, just think about it, Saul. If they didn't miss 50 games, we definitely would have been 50 plus.
Okay.
And people would have been complaining. So it wasn't the ability to win. It was the ability to flourish consistently, stay out of bad losses, 3 to San Antonio, 3 to Houston, like 1 to Portland. Like, it was that mentality, and it was because of that mentality, because I think we were all still learning.
But I feel like we won. They won 49 games. I agree with you. But like from beginning of the season to the end of the season, typically like good teams will show some improvement as they go along the season. And this team did to a certain degree, but it felt like it was so all over the place.
Because of the bad losses. Because we hit stretches where we like, really? Yeah, tough losses at home. And again, I think it was because scouted hard, forcing them into the weakness, like forcing in to be facilitators. Like when Devin brought the ball up, it was pretty obvious. He and KD. It's pretty obvious. When they brought the ball up, teams were instructed, go trap them. Where are they? They're 10 feet behind the three.
Mm-hmm.
They're done for this possession.
Yeah.
They're done. Like, that's basically what happened. And like coaches are very smart. They talk amongst each other. Some of them, I believe, share scouting reports. And that was the whole mentality. Pick them up. Now, we had a guy on there, he said to me, well, Eddie, it's the change now that, look at Shea, look at Luka, look at... I didn't say some guys can't do it. Those guys can do it. But they mentioned Luka, right? When did it start working for Luka? When Kyrie came. All right? When does it start working for Shea to be more of a scorer? When Jalen Williams improved. So they're not like bringing the ball up all the time. Jalen Brunson right now is the one guy that's doing it to an insane level, but he's taking 28 shots a game. And I just don't know how that's going to pair, even if they get past Indiana against a Boston. I think they'll get swept trying to play that way. So, no, it's exceptions to the rule. We don't have that exception right now. Okay? I don't think Devin, KD, and Bradley Beal, they have not been conditioned long enough to be facilitators at a high level. They are scorers, man. And we got to put people around them that can help them be the assassins that they are. Like James Bond, what was he? He was an assassin, right? Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. And then every part of that movie, what did he do? He'd go back home to the home base and they have a car and they telling them how to shoot that weapon. And they'll tell him, they got little watches where they can shoot people like I'd want to shoot you right now. Mm-hmm. Right?
Okay. All right.
They wasn't counting on James Bond to build the damn car.
Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
They counting on him to go execute it, supply him with everything around him to keep him safe and to go execute what he's great at. That's what I want to see for those three guys next year because I don't think they're going anywhere. I don't want them to go anywhere because I want them to come back and prove everybody wrong.
Well, I think it's funny that you say that, Eddie, because we have a little guy called Ochocinco that's out there in this space, and he had quite the interesting thing to say to Shannon Sharp.
After Golden State, he went to Brooklyn.
Brooklyn.
What makes you think he want to go to Miami now?
Because I talked to him. I talked to KD. And I know KD going to see this, and KD can attest to this, and you could talk about it tomorrow on First Take. I talked to KD. KD and I had a lengthy conversation. Listen, I'm not into basketball, and people like KD and LeBron and some of these other players that I know, they confided in me, and I asked if it was okay to talk about it tonight on Nightcap, and just so happened, boom, it comes up.
Right.
And he said, what he would have no problem coming down to if it made sense.
Okay. See. Now, you see how he ended it?
If it makes sense.
If it makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, Ocho, he played football. Any player would say that. Like, any player would say if it made sense. All right? So he didn't say, oh, I'm unhappy in Phoenix. I want out. He didn't say that, Ocho. He just said if it makes sense. Because KD knows. I mean, like, you play this game, no place is guaranteed. He's been to, 4 places now, right? Mm-hmm. Oklahoma City, Golden State, Brooklyn, and here. So he's already been on 4 different teams. So, yeah. So that's not, like, great news. And I just, Ocho, come on, man. He's half funny. I actually love him on that podcast. Mm. He's funny. I've always loved him as a player. He's a hell of a wide receiver. But come on, man. I just find it hard to believe that Kevin Durant, oh yeah, man, go ahead on in, and tell everybody that, man. I'm not buying it.
Yeah, I have a hard time believing that too, but there's not really a trade that makes sense from Miami's perspective anyway, for us anyway. Man, I'm not really worried about that.
Kevin Durant had a great season. The Suns lost, but individually,
yeah, no, I get that,
and did it under duress. People don't realize this man was double teamed all year.
But that's not what they're saying, though. That's not the problem. The perception is, and it's always been the perception around KD, is that if things don't go the right way, then he's going to want out. And that's not a fair perception because a couple times he was just straight up a free agent and he could decide where he wanted to go. Like when he went to Golden State, he wasn't traded to go to Golden State. He went to Golden State because he was a free agent. That's his volition. He can do that. He went to Brooklyn because he was a free agent. Everybody else ditched him in Brooklyn, and he was like, okay, well, now I want out because I have nothing here. So he came here. Like that, I'm cool with that. But there is this perception that KD is I don't know, malcontent isn't the right word. Just he's easily unhappy. And I don't know if that's a fair assessment. I'm not saying it is, but that is the perception out there from some people.
Well,
that's why things like this take off, because it just feeds that narrative. And it's not, to me, it's not the right narrative, but it is a narrative that has followed KD basically his entire career since he left OKC. And he's had to deal with that. And he does. And I like KD. I like the fact that he's on Twitter and he goes at people. Hell, he came after one of our people, which I thought was kind of funny. You know, like it is what it is. But at the end of the day, people have this narrative about him that they really try to fit him into. And whether it's fair or not, the one thing that could always be squashed is KD coming out and saying, man, I don't want to go anywhere. Like, I'm good. You know what I mean? But when he's quiet about these things, that's what happens. That it just.
Well, I mean, I can get the quiet part because he is very. I mean, he's very open with the media. And when you watch him in interviews, you see the realness from him, which I appreciate. But I will say this: yes, and it's on record, and he knows it. I wasn't that happy when he left Oklahoma City for Golden State, and it was only because, you know, he's always been one of my favorite players. I wanted him to beat Golden State. I love that Oklahoma City team. And so that's why I was upset that I didn't want him to go. But the reason he left Golden State, because Draymond, okay, and that whole environment of Draymond, okay, and stuff that he was saying and all of that, he cried in the car, wanted him to come there. They took the whole organization, family, extra people to the Hamptons to convince him to sign with Golden State. So I don't have a problem with, you know, him leaving Golden State, because I think that people got on him so hard about him going there that he had to wanted to go prove himself.
Yeah.
And then in Brooklyn, let's just face it, man. I mean, Kyrie was not the Kyrie that we see today. Kyrie was just gone. He was out of control. And then James Harden comes over there, and it just got worse. So, I mean, I could see that with those. Now, this situation here, that's why I say I just cannot believe that that's what he wants right now. I don't. I think, if anything, I think he wants to prove himself here. And he showed it this year, man. He was available most of the games. He's our most consistent available player in his uniform all year, and he's the oldest. He had a tremendous individual season, and that's all I need from him. I don't need anything else. Like, he's gone back at me a couple of times on Twitter before he came to the Suns. It's never personal with him. Like, you know, it's like, so I don't care how surly he is. I don't care. Like, if he's out there when the ball goes up and he plays, that's all we want. Don't care about the other stuff, man. I just don't. People want people to always be how they think they want them to be. I'm like, they lost, man. He's probably embarrassed. Book's probably embarrassed. All of them. You know, but do they feel a little halfway good seeing what they're doing to Denver? Probably. You know? It makes you feel a little bit better.
Why? Why does it make you feel any better?
Because
I don't give a shit.
it makes you because
I just don't care.
Because I said them. I didn't say you.
Oh my goodness.
I didn't say you. You're not out there sweating. You sitting there drinking a beer watching the game.
Dude, they got swept. Why does it matter if another team gets swept?
What it does is it validates to them that team was better than what they thought.
Or Denver dropped back down to that level.
No. That team, Minnesota, is better than what anybody freaking thought. I saw it develop in our series.
Mm-hmm.
They are no joke, man.
I'm not saying they are.
What I'm telling you right now, they're the best team right now. Now, not to say they're going to win a title. They're the best in how they play.
in the NBA.
Right now.
Okay.
Right now. Now, I'm not saying that's not going to change.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong.
All right. Well, I was going to make the quote to you right now.
They're
Okay.
the best.
Okay.
That defense they're playing, that is the best defense I have ever seen.
Ever.
Ever.
Ever?
What they did to Denver, that one game. I'm not saying overall.
Okay.
It's the best defense in the playoffs right now
Yeah,
overall.
Sure.
But that defense they played against Denver, against a team that's supposed to be a machine, that's got the three-time MVP, and he's the hub. Man, they had him playing like he was. Man, are you kidding me? They made them look like little kids out there. They looked like it was high school kids playing against grammar school kids.
They did.
At the NBA level, they did that. Now, I think Denver has the ability to go in Minnesota and win twice. I'm not saying that.
Mhm.
What I'm saying is right now, so if you're a team or a player that lost to them, you can't tell me the Suns thought that highly of them when they started the series.
No, they didn't.
When they beat them 3 straight in the regular season.
They 1,000,000% did.
No, jumped up on them. That's my point. And they felt it. They felt it. Like Devin felt the crowd. KD felt the crowd. But we were watching and we were like, what's wrong with us? What's the problem? What's wrong? And they can't articulate that to us. Like, Book could be like, man, this dude Jaden Daniels is in my uniform, man. Like he's doing stuff to me that like I gotta adjust to. Like
I don't think anybody thinks anything negatively about that.
Well, can I finish the end of it?
Go ahead.
Can I finish the end of it?
I'm about to tear this shit
So,
apart.
well, you can tear it up all you want. So, my point to you is now that Minnesota is doing it to Denver, that's what I'm saying. Now, Devin can sit back. See, I told you. It wasn't just what they did to us.
Mm-hmm.
It's what they can do to them. That's my point. So they're not feeling good about it because they're disappointed that they didn't compete with them. That's not what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying if they had come out and said, man, their defense was just ridiculous, we would have pushed back on it if Denver was up 2-0. But they're showing you, like, no, defensively, man, they are a problem.
No, I get
That's
that.
all.
I totally get that.
That's
I
all.
totally get that. You those are valid points. The Minnesota Timberwolves are very freaking good, and they could definitely make a run, even all the way to the finals. And if everything goes right,
Not making excuses, dude.
they could even
Stop.
win a championship.
Shut up.
I'm not saying
No,
that at
I'm
all.
talking about that.
No, I
No,
know. I know you. I know
Can I
what you're
reach through
talking
the TV and slap
about.
you? Go ahead.
Don't let them get in your head, man. But what I would say is like, yeah, the defense has been there, and the defense showed up in the playoffs. And from game one, you saw some of those problems. Okay, cool, that's fine. My thing is that does not excuse the other end of the floor when open shot after open shot after open shot after open shot kept getting given up. Just based off of defensive fundamentals and connectivity. And Mike Conley playing out of his damn mind.
He wasn't playing out of his mind.
Dude.
Don't disrespect Mike
Brother.
Conley. I dare you disrespect
Mike Conley has not played at this level in the playoffs his entire career.
But he's always been a great facilitator.
He's always been a good player, yes.
No. And that's what beat him.
But he's hitting shots like
Mike
crazy at a high level right now.
No, it wasn't, man. Hold up, man. Hold up. Mike Conley has been hitting big shots his whole career.
Bro, I get that. But he has not played as consistently at a high level as he has in this series. Why?
Because he's got tremendous players around him.
Irregardless, that proves my point. I just said that he's playing at a higher level for a longer period of time in the playoffs than he ever has in his.
When he was in Memphis, he was playing at a high level in the playoffs. What have you been watching?
Not like this.
Well, he's on a better team.
It doesn't matter. I'm just saying my point is that.
But you, as an older player, you need better guys around you. I played in Houston with Dream, Clyde, and Akeem. Okay?
You guys were like the Suns this year.
When I was in Indiana, I looked like I couldn't play. Literally. I looked like I couldn't play. Larry Brown like, why we sign you? Right?
Yeah.
I go to Houston. I'm dropping 20s.
Because why?
In the conference finals, I got 31 in game 3.
I get it.
Working them over. Game winner, game 4. Because of who I'm around.
I get that. I'm not saying anything against that. I'm just saying he's playing at a ridiculous level right now. He's probably playing some of the best ball of his career at this age. Tell me I'm wrong.
Because of the environment he's in.
I'm not asking about
if
the
you
environment.
Take Mike
I'm just
Conley
saying
and
that
put him on Charlotte.
I'm just saying that before
like
this,
he can't play.
Before this season, before the playoffs started, Mike Conley was not very much thought of in terms of like somebody that you had to prepare.
Mike Conley has made over $200 million.
Oh my God, I don't care about the past. Stop living in the past. I'm talking about right now. He's not somebody that teams originally game planned around because he wasn't somebody that they considered like a big time threat. They had to keep an eye on him, but it wasn't like they didn't think he was going to be able to drop as many points as he's been doing.
He's not dropping a ton of points.
But he's still consistent. He's damn near hitting every wide open shot possible.
Because he's wide open.
That's what I'm saying.
He wasn't wide open in the other places.
Okay. All right. Okay.
He's wide open because of a reason.
Thank you,
You
Classy
can't
Nasty.
leave anybody because he's going to be wide open. They double off of him. They go under screens. He's open.
I'm just saying, like, we had a bunch of open shots, too, and these motherfuckers couldn't hit them.
You can roll my old 65-year-old butt out there on the court right now.
Maybe we should have against the Timberwolves, man.
Roll me out there on the court right now and let somebody leave me open. Man, I'd be like, Papa! And then going back down court, they're like, what the heck's going on?
Listen.
Then they'll change it. They'll say, you know what? We need to stop this. And then they put a guy in my jersey. I look like they got to wheel me out of there on a stretcher. Okay? It's a different animal, man.
I'm glad you all are starting to realize that EJ is always moving the goalposts. I mean, dang, man. Like, no, listen.
It's a different
First of all,
animal.
that's such a false narrative about you playing and hitting wide open shots. My man doesn't even want to play pickleball because he's afraid that his Achilles is going to shatter. I don't want to hear it.
Hold up. What's the minimum salary in the NBA? Are you out of your freaking mind? I won't go out there and risk an Achilles, ACL, dislocated shoulder. What did Isaiah Thomas make in 2 months?
You might be risking your life is what it might be.
What did Isaiah Thomas make in 2 months?
I mean, probably more than we both made this year.
Thank you.
Oh, man, you're going to drive me to drink. You can drink Arizona's best craft brewery in Four Peaks, the Kill Lifter, the Peach Ale, the Sun's Brew. Get some of that in your system. I wish I had one right about now.
You can get some of this vodka.
Man, that's not vodka. Stop, man. You're just talking about DUIs. Now you're talking about that's vodka in your drink. That is not a good segue.
I got an Uber downstairs.
They don't have any vodka over at Four Peaks, but they have a bunch of craft brew that you can check out. Go to fourpeaksbrew.com. Check out the closest, or you can check out their 8th Street Pub. Check out their menu. They have fantastic food as well. You won't go wrong. Make sure that if you go to Four Peaks and you enjoy their delicious beverages, that you do, and you are the age of 21 and you do drink responsibly. All right. Thank you, guys. Before we sign off, let's talk about the playoffs. Obviously, you talked about Jalen Brunson. I believe he got dinged up, so we'll see what the results of that are. But the Knicks are 2-0, up 2-0 as they go back to Indiana. I thought Indiana is, listen, Indiana's a good team, but they're playing a Knicks team that has been playing some good ball right now, and Jalen Brunson has been the spearhead of that as well. And listen, man, the Knicks are on a little bit of a roll.
They play with a different type of energy. Now that's what we need. We need energy. Like, you watch the Knicks play, like, it doesn't matter. They can miss 8 shots in a row. Josh Hart, let me tell you, man, I love that dude. Old school personified. Dude, he's playing 48 minutes every game.
Yeah.
Like, they are just tough, man. They fight you. Brunson missed the whole second quarter and comes out in the second half. I mean, what the heck did they give him?
Oh,
maybe it was an OG double.
That John the Conqueror route.
Man, give me a break, man. And he comes out, man, he's about his foot hurt, and all of a sudden he's moving around on the foot. Like, I don't know what they had back there that worked on him, but whoever that person is, they need to pay. Tell you that. They need to pay. That was, what was his name when the Karate Kid?
Mr. Miyagi.
Mr. Miyagi. Miyagi must have rubbed him down or something, man. I don't know what happened, but man, them dudes, man, they play with so much energy. But I have to say, I like Rick Carlisle.
What did you
I
do wrong?
like Rick Carlisle.
But what did you do
man.
wrong yesterday? You got to play.
And I
TJ,
think Rick
man.
Carlisle is one of the smartest coaches in the league. I think the system that he's developed in Indiana around them guys, man, it's equivalent to 7 seconds or less. Just the way that they play, how hard they play. But Rick, go sit down on the bench sometimes. That's what I always say, man. That's the biggest mistake coaches make, man. I'm telling you, man, if I was above a coach and GM and running him and talking to him, I'd tell him, hey, man, I want you to spend 40% of your time standing up, but the other 60, sit your ass down, man.
Why?
Because you got 8 assistant coaches over there. You can't see it all. You can't. You can't feel it all. You can't see it all. What did you hire those guys for?
Mm-hmm.
And if the assistant coach stands up and walks to him, that's disrespect.
Mm.
Sit down.
Interesting. Okay.
And you'll see a lot of coaches do it. They'll sit down, man. Like you got coaches behind you. You got they're feeding you info. If you're standing the whole time, how can they get to you? They're not going to embarrass him by getting up and going up to him.
Yeah.
TJ McConnell.
Yes.
Man, you kidding me?
Tell him.
This dude, they should be up 2-0 on the Knicks. Literally up 2-0. Even with the 9 calls they didn't get in game 1, they should be up 2-0. Rick just outthinking himself, man. He's outthinking himself. Man, I don't care. Nembhard can shoot the ball. I get it. But Brunson is eating him alive.
Yeah, he is.
And in the fourth quarter, you can't do it. TJ McConnell was bothering Brunson. Because when Brunson drove late and made that and one, what did he get up in TJ and like, because he knows he was bothering him.
Mm-hmm.
And then TJ scoring. I don't get it, man. That blew me away. But good for New York. I mean, they know how to win down the stretch. I don't know if they can win this series, though. OG Anunoby probably could be out for the rest of the series.
Yeah.
I just can't see them continue to overcome injuries, man. I just don't. Yeah. I can foresee Indiana winning 2 at home and finding a way to win this series. Yeah. I do. If Rick Carlisle stops playing favoritism with his guards and keep TJ McConnell on the floor when he's playing well. When he's not playing well, fine. But when he's playing well, come on, man.
TJ McConnell, one of my favorite Arizona Wildcats of all time.
One of my favorite players.
Did not play the last 7 minutes of that game last night, and that was a travesty. It really was a travesty because you're right. He was bothering Brunson. Really wish he would have been able to get back in that game and make a difference. On the other side of things, obviously Boston, taking on Cleveland. That starts tonight, I believe. I don't know. I don't think Cleveland really has a shot. OKC, OKC looks really good too. Minnesota and OKC look like they might be on a collision course, which is so crazy because we were all guilty of it before the playoffs started. Everybody was talking about, man, I'd rather play OKC or Minnesota because they have no experience and all this other stuff. And now look at those two teams proving that they were 2 of the best in the league and just running roughshod right now through these playoffs. Neither one of them is lost in the playoffs. So
crazy?
That is wild. That is so wild.
Right. OKC is under the radar because everybody's got their focus, obviously, and rightly so, on the Minnesota-Denver series because Denver is defending champion. But, yeah, man, Oklahoma City, man, them young boys ball, man.
Yeah, they do.
When they laid it on us late in the year, and this is when I knew that we still had some growth to go through, despite the talent that we had and the expectations, is when they blew us out on their floor and Shai Gilgeous didn't play. I knew. Like, the regular season means something, and rhythm means something. And they're young, man. They're young. They don't care. Their defense is just ridiculous. They share the ball. They're together. Post-game interviews, they all stay out there with each other. And it's so much to love about watching that.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. So, yeah, It could be a collision course. I will say this though, and I'm just saying it. You never underestimate Dallas. You just don't. If Luka gets healthy, and he can get healthy, spur of the moment. His knee can feel good, and you just don't underestimate the heart of a champion. And Denver does play with the heart of a champion. Maybe Jokic getting that MVP is going to maybe spur them on now. Who knows?
They lose tonight, it's over.
Well, tomorrow night.
That was tonight.
No, know your schedule. Tomorrow night.
Go ahead.
Go ahead and check.
Carry on. No, go ahead. Carry
They
on.
play tomorrow night.
Okay. No, carry on.
I'm gonna carry on, but I want to see the look on your damn face when you look at me and say, like you trying to fact check me. They play tomorrow night.
You're right.
Oh, okay. Oh,
I didn't know they got 2 days off or 3 days off.
yes, giving the defending champion a favor, right? Give him a couple of extra days off, for Jamal Murray to heat up some heat pack. What's up with that?
If you had to make a prediction about who's going to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, Western Conference Finals, you think it's OKC, Minnesota right now? Would that be your prediction?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, it's unfair that I can do it now. Right?
And then in the East, who you got?
Boston and I'm gonna say Boston and the Knicks.
Okay.
But like I said, I think based on the injury to OG, I just don't know if they can overcome it. But they do have a cushion up 2-0. They can steal a game in Indy. So yeah, just hard to just go against the Knicks right now. So
all right,
yeah, but Boston is gonna just run. It's laid out for Boston.
It
so
is.
You Boston fans, you all don't win it this year, I'm gonna destroy you. Destroy you.
We have one more segment. We were going to get to but you know what? We're going to save that for another day. We're going to save the tough guys segment because this is, Flex was originally going to join us today. We are going to do like a little bit of an old heads kind of thing, but we'll save that for another time. But we do appreciate you all for joining us on another episode of Outside Shots with Eddie Johnson. You can follow him at JumpShot8 on Twitter and on Instagram. You can also listen to the Serious NBA show every
and
single
JJ
day.
Redick, I didn't even say anything about you.
Yeah, we don't need to. You can follow me at Saul_Bookman on Twitter and on Instagram. And you can follow the show at PHNX_Suns on both Twitter and Instagram as well. Until next time, peace.